Come with us as we explore the formidable fortress Blackness Castle with a very excited Springer Spaniel. It had just begun to snow gently as we drove along the coast of the Firth of Forth, taking in the views of the low tide in Blackness Bay on this dreich Scottish February day. Willow led the way across the grounds into the fortress itself. Walking through the dark and sinister gatehouse, it is easy to believe that this castle has a bloody and terrible history. Built in the 1440s by Sir George Crichton, it was initially both a family residence for the powerful Crichton family and a prison, until George's son, James, imprisoned his father in the very castle he had built. George was eventually rescued, but when he died, Blackness Castle was passed on to the Crown, James II of Scotland, in 1453, and has been Crown property ever since. Built as a fortress to protect the coast, it has seen more than its fair share of sieges and battles. The castle is known as the ship that never sailed, due to its strong defensive walls that span all the way to the point at the end of the rock it is built on, to provide a strong fortress against attacks. During the Marian Civil War of 1568 to 1573, the castle was garrisoned in the name of Mary Queen of Scots, but changed hands several times during the war in brutal and bloody sieges, until Mary was forced to abdicate. And later, in 1650, the castle came under attack from Oliver Cromwell's army from both land and sea. The heavy artillery far surpassed the defences of the castle, and after much bloodshed, the castle was abandoned, only to be rebuilt again in 1667 and become a prison once more. It will come as no surprise then that hauntings have been reported from Blackness Castle. A knight dressed in armour is said to have chased a woman and her sons from the tower, and a paranormal investigation noted noises of moving furniture and loud banging throughout the castle's stone floors. The castle has many dark corridors and spooky rooms to explore, many of them being utility rooms for cooking or storage, but others seeming like strong stone cells in which prisoners would have lived and died. After climbing the narrow spiral staircase and looking out over the bay and surrounding countryside from the tower, it is easy to see why this spot was chosen as a perfect defensive site for the castle. And there is plenty of information on signs and rooms about how they defended the castle, from murder holes to secret tunnels. There is also a wonderful exhibition at the castle about folklore in Scotland, which I spent some time reading, although it was right under a wooden floor, and it struck me how creepy it would be to hear this noise if you were alone in the castle. Blackness Castle is also famous as the fortress in Fort William in Outlander, so is a must-see for fans of the show. We delved deeper into the bowels of the castle, hoping for a glimpse of a shadow or spectre, but nothing appeared. You can, however, feel the heavy atmosphere of a place so rich with history of violent and significant events. Roaming the halls, it is hard to imagine the fortress as a family residence, but with its cold stone walls and foreboding atmosphere, it is easy to imagine the prisoners who suffered there, some of them Covenanters from the 1700s, whose only crime was opposing the English crown. The maze of passages and steps that seemed to lead nowhere also show how it was formed as an effective defensive garrison, with soldiers able to reach any part of the castle in a moment's notice. After leaving the castle, we took some time to walk down the coast. Just a few hundred yards away, there are some ruins from when the castle was still in use. A chapel that must have been used by both those living in the castle and in the nearby village of Blackness showed just a foot high of wall left over. The views back to the castle were stunning and were complemented by the view over the water of the 3 bridges over the River Forth. Luckily the fog, or har, had not obscured our view and we could see for miles. After Willow had sniffed 100 rabbit holes, we turned back for one last look at the castle and to get back home into the warm, leaving the cold coastal wind and gentle snow behind us.